afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, expelled congressman and murder suspect Arnie Teves faces the media after being brought back to the Philippines from Timor-Leste. A member of the House prosecution panel vows to abide by the Senate's timeline for the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. This comes after the upper chamber postponed the reading of the charges. Following the viral Makati sewer incident, the DSWD now looks for ways to convince street dwellers to seek assistance. And speaking of viral, two Brazilian nuns stunned the internet with their beatboxing performance. After nearly 2 years of evading arrest, expelled Congressman Arnie Teves was brought back here in the country from Timor-Leste. Teves is facing multiple murder charges related to the assassination of former Governor Roel Degamo. His camp, however, expresses confidence he will be proven innocent. Andrea Salve reports.
Former Negros Oriental Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. was immediately brought to the NBI headquarters in Pasay City after arriving Thursday evening aboard a Philippine Air Force aircraft. His lawyer, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio, attempted to meet him at Villamor Air Base but was informed Teves had already been transported to the NBI facility. Topacio, along with other members of the legal team, rushed to follow. Soon after, Teves' mother, whom the lawyer calls Mommy Bubot, arrived. It was their first reunion in nearly 2 years since Teves sought asylum in Timor-Leste.
What struck me most ay yung naging madamdamin na pagtatagpong muli ng kanyang ina. Siya po ay nadalhan naman ng medication ng kanyang ina, a change of clothes, isang unan. So, nakakatuwa nga hanggang ngayon. At his age ay talagang alagang-alaga pa siya ng kanyang nanay.
Teves went through standard booking protocols, including fingerprinting and mugshots. He was also assessed by the NBI's resident physician with results described as positive. After a long day, Teves was allowed to spend the night at the NBI headquarters before his expected transfer to their detention facility at the New Bilibid prison in Muntinlupa.
For humanitarian reasons, pagod na po si Congressman Teves sa kanyang biyahe at pagod na rin po ang mga kawani ng NBI. Ang sabi ko naman po kay Director Santiago, basta safe at yung mga basic necessities po lamang ang aming hinihiling, ay okay na po sa amin yun.
Topacio says the arrest warrant has yet to be formally returned, after which arraignment and trial will follow. Teves faces multiple charges of murder and frustrated murder. He is tagged as the alleged mastermind of the 2023 killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo. But Teves remains in high spirits. His camp says the former lawmaker believes the legal process will eventually prove his innocence. Andrea Salve, Billionaire News Channel.
The NBI and Arnie Teves himself faced the media this morning. Let's get updates from Joash Malimban, who monitored their briefing. Joash, what did they say?
The National Bureau of Investigation has confirmed that ex-Congressman Arnie Teves is now currently in a transit towards Muntinlupa, where he will be detained in a detention facility of the Bureau of Corrections, but under the supervision of the NBI. According to NBI Director Jaime Santiago, the deportation of Teves was a result of diplomatic talks between President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Timor-Leste President Jose Ramos Horta. When asked for his reaction, Teves said he was sad and puzzled over the outcome, saying he was left wondering what happened to the legal remedies that were supposedly being pursued in Timor-Leste's court system. Teves faced the media earlier today, alongside his mother and legal counsel.
Thank you. Ibigin niyo lang po sa kanya, ma'am. Ibigin niyo po. Ibigin niyo po sa kanya.
Ang feeling ko talaga sa kanya is parating manalangin. May bibigyan. Alam niyo yan.
He was emotional when his mother shared that it was the first time they had seen each other in 2 years since he fled to Timor-Leste. Teves faces multiple charges of murder, frustrated murder, attempted murder, and terrorist financing. Once he's transferred to the Bureau of Corrections facility in Muntinlupa, legal proceedings will officially begin. My NBI Director Santiago stressed that all of his rights were afforded during the process from the deportation from Timor-Leste up to when he was brought here in the country. A statement that Teves himself and also his legal counsel confirmed. We'll continue to monitor this story as developments go on. Mai.
Josh, does Teves have any message to the widow of Negros Oriental Governor Roel de Gamo?
Mai, when he was asked if he was ready to face Congresswoman-elect Janice de Gamo, he said that he was ready to face anyone in the world anytime and that his conscience was clean. Mai.
Thank you for that report, Joash Malimban. Incoming party list representative Laila de Lima warns against abandoning the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. This as the Senate postpones the reading of the articles of impeachment. More from Hannity.
The Senate is giving itself more time. The impeachment process against Vice President Sara Duterte has been pushed back, now set for June 11, 4 p.m., the very last session day before Congress adjourns. The presentation of the articles of impeachment was originally set for June 2, as earlier agreed upon by both chambers. But Senate President Cheese Escudero said the Senate has only 6 session days left before Sine Die adjournment, and that must first be devoted to legislative priorities. In a letter to House Speaker Martin Romualdez, Escudero listed 12 bills that need to be passed before the 19th Congress ends. These include the E-Governance Act, the Anti-Pogo Act, and Universal Healthcare Act. Escudero said this legislative push is aligned with the Marcos administration's goal to deliver on the needs and expectations of the Filipino people. Also pending, the confirmation of over 200 presidential appointees, including cabinet secretaries, foreign service officials, and officers of the armed forces of the Philippines. Because of this backlog, the impeachment court will now formally begin only on June 11. Until that happens, the Senate cannot convene as an impeachment court. On that same day, senators will take their oaths as judges, don their robes, and issue summons to the vice president. Once Congress adjourns sine die, the Senate cannot take any further action. And after June 30, the House Prosecution Panel will lose its authority unless re-elected when session resumes on July 28. On whether the impeachment trial against VP Sara may or may not push through, Representative-elect Laila de Lima says the Constitution itself lays out a path for accountability. She adds, each step exists to uncover the truth, and to abandon this process is to abandon the people who believe in justice. When ignored, impunity happens and the nation forgets, and for her, that cannot happen again. De Lima adds, the case must be heard and the evidence must be tested. The stage is set, and for now, the countdown to the trial of the Vice President continues. Hannity, Billionario News Channel.
Following the Senate's postponement, a member of the House Prosecution Panel, Lawrence Defensor, asserts the impeachment process is entirely up to the Senate. He says they will abide by how the chamber wants to proceed. VP Sara will face 7 articles of impeachment, including culpable violation of the Constitution, mainly over her alleged misuse of confidential funds. Majority of Filipinos believe Vice President Sara Duterte should address the impeachment charges filed against her. That's according to a new social weather station survey conducted earlier this month. 68% say the VP should definitely answer all allegations pertaining to corruption and clear her name. Most respondents also believe she should collaboratively work to prioritize the nation's needs and stop politicizing. House Deputy Majority Leader Paulo Ortega hails the survey and urges VP Sara to listen to the people. Meanwhile, VP Sara will be spending her birthday in The Hague in the Netherlands and will be leading a series of campaigns to bring home her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte. The latest on her trip in this report from Joan Manalo.
Days before the Senate convenes as an impeachment court, Vice President Sara Duterte visited a photo exhibit honoring her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, in The Hague, Netherlands. Around 5:40 p.m. Central European Time on Thursday, VP Sara arrived at the exhibit located on Lan van Regan and Gorbachev Street. The display features tribute photos for FPRRD, who remains in detention at the ICC headquarters. VP Sara was joined by her mother, Elizabeth Zimmerman. Prior to her visit to the Netherlands, she attended a Thanksgiving Mass in Doha, Qatar, one of several events abroad organized by supporters of the Duterte family. VP Sara is scheduled to visit FPRRD at the ICC on May 30, June 2, and June 3. She is also expected to join a Filipino gathering outside the ICC on her birthday, May 31. A show of solidarity for the former president. The vice president is set to return to the Philippines on June 4 to prepare for her upcoming impeachment trial. Joan Manalo, Billionario News Channel.
On to the viral Makati sewer incident that has put a spotlight on street dwellers in the country's financial capital. The Social Welfare Department now looking for ways to convince them to seek assistance from the agency. Our Mojo, Ivy Reyes, joins us for more on this story. Ivy, go ahead.
Mai, 4 days after the viral Makati sewerage girl made rounds on the internet for surprising passers-by by emerging out of a drainage, the Department of Social Welfare and Development tracked down the rest of the street dwellers reported to be living inside the now viral culvert near Makati Med. The girl in the drainage rows led a team of social workers and members of the media at 5 a.m. this morning. Our first stop was the culvert they call the Botanical Garden. However, due to the traction the location has been getting since Monday, no street dwellers were found inside. We then headed to Skyway because according to Rose, if they're not in the culvert, another usual spot is the sidewalk of Skyway. There we found 7 more dwellers, and out of this bunch, only 3 agreed to come with DSWD. 2 of them started running away as soon as the DSWD mobile came closer. All dwellers are taken to the Pagabot Center in Pasay, a former Pogo hub turned temporary shelter for homeless people. Mai, this is the problem DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian sees. According to him, people are afraid and feel like they're being caged when they approach them, which is why Rose came along today. The department is coming up with new ways to appeal to street dwellers without scaring them off, and they believe that bringing with them a beneficiary of the Pagabot program, their flagship project for families and individuals in street situations, will help. This is because of the 10,000 dwellers they have approached since the program's launch in 2023, only half of them accepted their assistance. Meanwhile, we have reached out to the National Housing Authority because, as online critics say, this is a housing crisis. Gatchalian also coordinated with Makati LGU City Social Welfare Department. And an update on Rose's situation. She and her live-in partner are now under DSWD in the Pagabot system, awaiting employment assistance from the Labor Department and TESTA. As of now, that's the latest on this story. Mai?
Just to clarify, there are reports that the girl is not actually living inside the drainage. What was she doing there?
There were reports that there were personal items found in the drainage, but none of them belonged to Rose because she's actually just looking for the cutter that she uses to collect garbage. And in fact, she is renting a house together with her live-in partner, which is why she didn't need to last long in the Pagabot Center when DSWD found her yesterday. Mai?
Thank you for that report, Ivy Reyes. Also, the talk of the town, actress, vlogger Ivana Alawi. That's after she was tagged as the alleged mistress of billionario and newly elected Congressman Albi Benitez. To recall, his estranged wife, Nikki, filed a bombshell legal complaint accusing him of emotional and psychological abuse stemming from his alleged extramarital affairs. The congressman's legal counsel has denied the allegations, calling them baseless and retaliatory, while the actress, known for her expensive taste in bags and homes, has yet to issue a statement. Rumors first swirled about their illicit affair when a video showing them together at a Japanese airport emerged February last year. Both denied the allegations back then, with Ivana saying she was dating a businessman, not a politician. A legal setback for Trump 2.0. A federal judge has issued a temporary restraining order on President Donald Trump's attempt to bar Harvard University from enrolling foreigners. The elite university sued the Trump administration last Friday, saying it will continue to protect the rights of its international scholars and students. Earlier, Trump gave Harvard 30 days to contest his plan. The president wants the university to change its policies to fight anti-Semitism and discrimination on campus. But Harvard has defied what it describes as an effort to erode its independence and commitment to academic freedom.
It's definitely tense. I think that international students in particular have a lot of concern. I think one challenge is the way the administration seems to target those who are speaking out. It makes it more important for those of us who have protected status to do what we can to protect them.
U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth now in Singapore to attend a major Asian security summit. U.S. officials say Hegseth will reassure Indo-Pacific allies of the Trump administration's commitment to the region when he speaks at the Shangri-La Dialogue this weekend. The forum will be held from May 31 to June 1. Defense, military, and security officials and diplomats from around the world are expected to attend. French President Emmanuel Macron will also deliver the keynote address. We're taking a break. Up ahead, the cast and director of the upcoming Superman film are coming to the Philippines. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. You're back at Newsfeed at Noon. Novak Djokovic still on track for a record-breaking 25th career Grand Slam title. The three-time champion battled past Frenchman Corentin Moutet to reach the third round of the French Open. Moutet pushed Djokovic, especially in the third set, where he carved out a set point. But the Serb held firm and forced a tiebreak and ran away with a commanding performance. The match lasted more than 3 hours. Still at the French Open, as world number one Yannick Sinner sends Frenchman Richard Gasquet into retirement. Sinner eased past Gasquet in straight sets to move into the third round. It was the second time in as many years in Paris that a 23-year-old beat the local hero whose career yielded.
Well, my trainer is sitting here, so we'll talk about that. But we're going to look at football. First of all, I'm going to be interested in football. You know, I haven't kicked a ball in 10 years because I'm afraid of getting hurt. So this evening, I'm happy to be able to tell myself that I'm finally going to be able to play football again, and perhaps golf and paddle again.
Filipina tennis ace Alex Ayala and Mexico's Renata Zarazua fight for a French Open doubles upset tonight. They face world singles number 34 Olga Danilovic of Serbia and number 37 Anastasia Potapova on court 6. Both Ayala's and Zarazua's career highs were at number 69. They now occupy number 73 and 74 respectively. Estimated match time is at 9:20 p.m. Philippine time. A win puts Ayala in her first Grand Slam third round. In entertainment, Superman is coming to town. Director James Gunn and the stars of his upcoming film about the Man of Steel are visiting Manila on June 19. They include David Cornsweet, who plays the titular role, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. The film will be released July 9th.
Citizens of Metropolis
and the world.
Superman is coming to a city near you. He's back.
But don't worry, you're not in danger.
We're coming to cities all over the world for the Superman Global Tour.
Superman. Just look up.
And we will see you soon.
The Philippines is ripe for bigger international productions. That's according to veteran film contractor June Huban. On Billionaire News channels at the forefront, Huban traced his family's legacy from the 70s. Since then, the Hubans have lured Hollywood to Filipino shores, helping Filipino communities like Caramoan and El Nido in the process. He laments, though, that a lot of the work now goes to Thailand and Vietnam.
We are in the crossroads of, obviously we have to increase our incentives because our incentives are too low. But as I was telling in the last meeting we had with the FDCP, it's not just the cash incentive which is important. There are a lot of government-owned locations that can be given free, not just to worthy foreign productions, but even to the local. Diba? Kung may open up yun, make an inventory, offer it. Kasi kung hirap tayo sa cash incentive, pwede naman in kind eh.
Okay.
Now here's a treat for rock and roll fans. An immersive exhibit in New York offers a 50-minute experience that features still photography and vintage footage set to iconic rock tunes. Presented by Rolling Stones magazine, the show called Amplified was culled from 1,000 photographs and 200 videos and is narrated by actor Kevin Bacon. The exhibit is being held at Artec House with admission set at $39.
It's a fun, rollicking ride. People have told me that they get very emotional when they see it. There's lots of genres of music in here, so it appeals to all different age groups. You're going to recognize 30 songs from all different areas, from rock to hip hop, and from the Beach Boys, you know, to Chapel Roan.
Madame Tussauds London unveils its most unexpected wax figure yet, and it's not a celebrity. It's a recreation of the much-loved British snack, Greg's sausage roll. The replica will go on display in the museum's Culture Capital Zone beside figures of naturalist David Attenborough and William Shakespeare. Madame Tussauds says the space is dedicated to those who have helped shape the landscape of British culture. And before we go to, Brazilian nuns have taken the internet by storm with a surprise beatboxing performance. Take a look.
Rapaz, que é isso?
Gente, é show de talento.
There's Marizela and Marisa during a live Catholic television performance. The two nuns were talking about a vocational retreat when they brought up a song, stood up, and did their impromptu performance. In an interview with the Associated Press, they say they believe in the power of music to help those in need.
Gente, é show de talento.
And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Billionaire News Channel. Good afternoon and happy weekend.